I'd like to reconvene the May 24th, 2011 meeting of the Newport Beach City Council. May we have the roll call, please?
The record will reflect that all members of council are present.
All right. And Minette, do we have a closed session report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only item that we are reporting out of closed session is that council authorized staff to initiate nuisance abatement proceedings. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, fine. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Rosansky and for the invocation by Melinda Blackman from the Harbor Christian Church.
Actually, Mayor Henn, if I could ask the Scouts from Troop 90, maybe they would come up and lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I think that's a splendid idea.
They're visiting tonight. They're earning their citizenship in country America. You can do it from down there, guys.
Gentlemen, why don't you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please reflect with me a moment. O loving Creator, we thank you for the opportunity of meeting together here this evening in unity to be of service and to take action on behalf of our beloved city. Please keep us free from any discord so that harmony and peace prevail throughout this session. Please bless these members of our community. May they return to their homes with renewed enthusiasm and dedication to the high principles and goals of our city. Grant us wise judgments in all undertakings tonight that will lead our city forward. Thank you for your guidance. Amen.
Okay. We have a presentation this evening from for the Newport Harbor High School culinary team that has just won national recognition for their ability in the culinary arts. And so we have Stephen Glyer here on behalf of the students, and all of the students, I'm sure, are here. I understand we'll be hearing from Kellen Perham and Yesenia Hernandez as well.
That is correct.
Thank you, Steve.
Mr. Mayor and council members, it's a great deal of pleasure to come from our school district to our city to share with you a very exciting time for us. If the students would come on in. They're right there. Okay.
Well, then, come on down.
Come on down.
Show us your medals.
Why didn't they prepare the council's meal?
Yeah. You know what? We had cold pizza for dinner in here a minute ago.
That's a problem. Career Technical Education, we call it CTE by its acronym, is an important part of our education system that is actually gaining a great deal of momentum, because most people are recognizing that just going to college and not thinking about what they're going to do beyond that is a very limited vision. And so at our schools, we have a number of what we call CTE pathways. These are either in business pathways or culinary pathways or digital media arts, construction, etc. But through those pathways, students lock into something that's called passion. And I think all of us know how important passion is in our lives, because when we are passionate about what we do, then the job that we do becomes not work but becomes fun. So these students represent a team of people who have locked into what I call passion, and they've done an amazing, they've accomplished actually a very amazing goal. They participate in a national competition by a National Restaurant Association, a competition called ProStart. It's designed for all high school students in the United States. There's almost 90,000 students that compete in that competition. And you have to win at the state level, which this year they took first place both in the management and in the culinary side of the competition. And that allowed them to go to the state. And the state competition was held in Kansas City about a month ago. And for the very first time in the history of all their competitions, no single state had ever won both competitions. let alone one school win competition, and that's exactly what Newport Harbor's students did. So I've asked two of the students to share with you both about the management side of the competition and also the culinary side. So I could have you come forward.
Hi, I'm Kellen Parham. I was on the management team, and we competed nationally in Kansas for the National Restaurant. Well, that was the convention. We was just in Chicago, sorry. But in Kansas, we competed nationally for the management, which was restaurant concept development. We created a restaurant concept named Spotlight Park Cafe, and it involved creating an investment perspective, layout, floor plan, design, menu, food costing, creating a board, a 10-minute speech, and then question and answers about management, which was really hard because how do you prepare for that when you've never worked in that kind of situation? But we did under the guidance of our mentor, Nanette McWentor, who just opened her restaurant Stacked in Torrance, opening this next week. But it was an amazing experience, you know, being able to come and talk in front of people, learning to get comfortable, because I think that's something you need throughout your life, being able to stand up for what you believe in. And we kind of had to defend our restaurant during our question and answers. And we just learned how far we could push ourselves, which was pretty far. I'm proud of both of our teams. But thank you.
What was the concept, the Spotlight Cafe? What sort of...
Spotlight Park Cafe was a full-service casual dining restaurant in a park. We picked Balboa Park by the demographic of being near a amusement park, a zoo. We thought it was a great area. And then it involved being in a park and having one of our main, one of our main attractions was Spotlight Nights. And this is where we have local artists come in and kind of share their passion with our guests, with their music and through their art. And then another idea for them to come into was our picnic baskets made of an insulated vinyl material, and kind of like takeaway, not so far away, so they're right in the park.
This is Balboa Park in San Diego you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh.
Very good. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kellen.
you.
I would also like to add, usually most of these projects are done by juniors or seniors. The management team is made up of one junior and two sophomores. And to win national competition at a sophomore level, they are really propelling themselves to, I think, a great career. So, Jason?
My name is Jasenia Hernandez, and this is my second year on the culinary team. Last year we won first place in state and management, and I was actually on both last year. And we won third in the nation last year, but this year we basically took it all, and it's just an amazing experience, especially because we're getting a huge glimpse into what the industry is going to be like, and getting the chance to work with chefs and just being in that environment is really amazing. We got to show everybody what we have and what we're basically made of, because people don't really expect things like this from high school students. And we had to make a 3-course meal in an hour with 2 butane, like the camping burners, and no running water, no electricity, and a 10-foot space with 2 8-foot tables. So it was a challenge, but we overcame it and won. So, yeah.
What was the menu?
Our appetizer was seared scallops with braised bacon, a braising juice, microgreens and blood orange. Our main entree is a spiced filet mignon with Parisian scooped potatoes, a red wine reduction, and sautéed vegetables. And our dessert was rosemary black pepper chocolate mousse with chocolate cake, passion fruit cream, and it had toffee in it as well, and it was decorated with white chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really difficult.
You could definitely cook for our council in the next 2 weeks.
I feel even worse about that cold pizza now.
Well, I look forward to seeing you all on Top Chef one of these days.
Thank you.
Top Chef, Iron Chef.
Oh, when we were in Chicago this past weekend, we got to work with Richard Blaze, who was the winner of Top Chef All-Stars, and we also got to work with Tom Colicchio, which is one of the head judges of, or we actually just got to meet him, and he gave us a really great talk about what the industry is like and basically preparing us for the industry. It was a really great experience.
So next time you're there, go see Rick Bayless over at Topolobampo.
Yeah.
You'll like that, too.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Thank
kids
you.
are just absolutely great.
We do have some items we're going to leave with you. We made a DVD of each of the teams that we shared at our board meeting that really highlights what the competition looked like and then the announcement of the winning, and it was really fun to do. They all signed the cookbook that we are providing to each of you for recipes from Newport Harbor. And then we have the book that came out of the National Restaurant Association event this weekend. That was a pretty powerful weekend. They had a $300 a plate dinner that they honored the students at. They all expense paid flight to Chicago to spend the weekend with them. And the National Restaurant Association gave out $1.4 million in scholarships to the top winning teams. And of course, the top teams, first place, they got a lot of scholarships. So it's really high honor, and we're really glad to have a chance to share it with you.
It's an amazing accomplishment, and I have some certificates for you, so I'll come down with those, and maybe we'll take a picture. Let me get in the middle here. We'll take a picture. Steven, do you want to join us for the picture? Okay. You have a lot more to do with this than I do. Well, unfortunately, this is one that should be here, but it goes great right now.
Mr. Mayor, before you're able to get back to the dais, if I could make a comment. I had the opportunity of witnessing this program from its inception about 10 years ago, I guess. When you talk about a passion, Janet Dukes, at that time the wife of a very known instructor at Harbor High, walked on the campus one day and walked through a very defunct home ec room that was used for storage and decided that it would be appropriate to turn it into a program that might benefit kids that hadn't found their passion yet anyplace else in the academic process. And she leaned on a lot of local builders to donate cabinets and kitchen equipment and professional kitchen equipment, and created the program that you see the value of today. So.
Okay, that's great. What a good start to the meeting tonight. Are we ready for the notice to public?
Yes, sir. The city provides a yellow sign-in card to assist in the preparation of the minutes. The completion of the card is not required in order to address the council. Speakers must limit comments to 5 minutes on agenda items. The council has a discretion to extend or shorten the time limit on agenda or non-agenda items. As a courtesy, please turn cell phones off or set them in the silent mode. Now is the time for council announcements or matters which council members would like placed on a future agenda for discussion, action, or report.
Councilmember Daigle?
I have none.
And Councilmember Curry?
I have none.
Councilmember Selage?
Well, it's that time of year again. The Balboa Island Parade, the only parade I know of where the parade participants are longer than the parade route. It's going to be June the 5th, 2011, from 11 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. The bridge closes at 10:30 in the morning. The theme this year is Balboa Island, the Spirit of America. It's a island tradition. There's going to be kids on bikes, island dogs, decorated golf carts, floats, vintage cars, Keystone Cops, marching bands, local dignitaries, your fellow council members up here. And it's the island way of welcoming summer. So again, it's Sunday, June the 5th, 11 to 2, Balboa Island for the Balboa Island Parade.
Very good. Councilmember Hill.
I have only a personal item to get myself out of some degree of trouble. Tonight is my wife's birthday, and I am not with her, so I would like to wish my wife, Linda Hill, a happy birthday.
Her 39th, no doubt. Councilmember.
No comment.
Rosansky.
Nothing, thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Yes, the day before the Balboa Island Parade is the Corona Del Mar 5K, so that's Saturday, June 4th, 2 weeks approximately. If you haven't started working out, you may want to go in the fun walk instead of the run. And they also have the Dolphin Dash for kids. If you want more information, you can go to the Recreation Center on their website and get the sign-up sheet.
Very good, thank you. I have several announcements, starting off with Relay for Life, which was completed this last weekend and turned out to be a fabulous success. They had 51 teams entered, which was a new record, including Council Critters was there. And, of course, once again, supported so well by our staff at the city here, and raised over $150,000 this year over that weekend, which is the best result in some time, I think, for that, and a real tribute to our citizens here in Newport Beach and the level of involvement on behalf of raising money to find a cure for cancer. So congratulations again to all those involved in Relay for Life. I was also at the Chamber of Commerce annual dinner on May the 11th at the Dunes Resort. Another example of tremendous volunteer spirit where they handed out Volunteer of the Year awards in association with the chamber work. The Hyatt Jazz Festival took place over the weekend of May the 11th, or the 13th through the 15th, I should say, and had over 5,000 participants at the Hyatt property near Fashion Island. It's one of the biggest generators of room nights and visitation here in the city, and I find that not many city residents actually are particularly aware of this jazz festival, but it's a great event with really great music. So kudos for that. And then we had the Employee Recognition Luncheon on May the 18th at Bonita Creek Park, recognizing service from our employees in the range of 5 to 40 years, and tremendous demonstration of hard work and dedication for the benefit of our city. It's always great to go to those events. Leadership tomorrow had their annual event on May the 19th in the Friends Room at the library. That's another great program that hopefully helps private individuals as well as nonprofits and government employees learn more about how government works. It's a great program. It's been around for a long time, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce and others. And then we had the Field of Flags ceremony on May the 20th at Lower Castaways Park. You might have noticed if you drove by there were 1,776 flags put up in honor of our military service veterans as well as our first responders, police and fire and lifeguards, both with us and those that have passed. And it's really a heartwarming event. This year we included Costa Mesa along with Newport Beach to help us with that celebration, and I thought that was a very nice enhancement to that event. Then over the next 2 weeks, we will have an athletic awards breakfast at the Radisson Hotel on June the 1st for local high school graduating seniors that have excelled in athletics, again sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. Visit Newport Beach, that is the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Newport Beach. Will have their annual dinner on June the 8th at the Island Hotel. I'm going to do a Meet the Mayor event on June the 11th at the West Newport Community Center from 9 until 10:30 in the morning. That's Saturday, June 11th. I hope to see lots of people out for that. It's an opportunity to ask me any old question you'd like on any subject other than personal, I guess. And so I hope to see you there. And then Flag Day is June 14th. Fly your flag. It's also my birthday. I never forget that one. There you go. Those are the announcements for today. And so with that, may we have the notice to the public?
Consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar, items 1 through 10, are considered by the council to be routine and will all be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. The council members have received detailed staff reports on each of the items recommending an action. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the council votes on the motion unless members of the council, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Members of the public who wish to discuss a consent calendar item should come forward to the lectern upon invitation by the mayor and state their name and item number. If the optional signing card has been completed, it should be placed in the box provided at the podium.
Okay, items to pull. Yes, Dave?
Just checking, did you want to make an announcement about a later item on the agenda involving MALARKY'S yet, or did you want to wait on that?
No, I will wait
till
till the regular agenda item comes up. Okay, Councilmember Hill?
Nothing.
And Councilmember Rosansky?
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner?
Number 7.
And Councilmember Daigle?
No items to pull, but please register a no vote for me on number 5.
Okay. Councilmember Curry?
No items to pull.
And Councilmember Selich?
I'm going to pull item number 5, but I'm pulling it just to register the no vote, but I want to do it separately.
Okay, so we'll pull item number 5. I have nothing to pull. Does any member of the public have an item to pull from consent calendar? If so, please step down. Okay. Then we therefore need a motion.
I move that we move all numbers 1 through 10 with the exception of 5 and 7.
Second.
Okay. Before we get to the vote, we need to get to read the titles.
Okay, do not shoot the messenger, please. Item number 3, there's an ordinance, number 2011-15, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, approving code amendment numbers CA 2010-013, CA 2011-003, and CA 2010-12 to revise zoning map to change the zoning designation of property located at 6480 West Coast Highway from R2 to commercial general, and to change 6904 and 6908 through 6936 West Coast Highway from R2 to mixed-use vertical. Item 4, ordinance number 2011-16, an ordinance approving an amendment to the North Newport Center Planned Community Development Plan and a code amendment to change the zoning classification from PC 23 to PC 56 for property located at 800, 840, 860, and 880 Newport Center Drive. Item 6, Resolution 2011-42, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach establishing a City Council redistricting committee. And item 10, Resolution number 2011-43, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach amending Council Policy F2, Reserve Policies. And there's actually no more for the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. All in one breath. All right, with that then, please vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, so item number 5 was pulled. Councilmember Selich?
Well, as I said, I pulled it so we would have a separate vote. I'm still opposed to it for the reasons stated at the last meeting.
All right, any further conversation? All
I
right,
move it.
does anyone from the public wish to comment on this item?
I move the item.
Yes, please come down.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just interrupt real quick. The vote on item number 3, I believe Councilman Rosansky needs to recuse himself on because of a distance issue.
Thank you, I do need to recuse
So
myself.
we'll register that recusal then in the record. Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. Please
All
state
right.
your name.
My name is Brent Barbata, and I live in Newport Shores. I just want to make sure I hit on everything, so I actually prepared something. I'd just like to read it.
Certainly, go ahead.
Okay. I'm currently a student at UCI studying biomedical physics. I think you guys actually all got my email from Barbada. So I'm not even going to touch on any of those points. It was also published in the Daily Pilot last Saturday. I'd also like to thank Council members Daigle and Selich for opposing this. But the reason I wanted to come up here today is to remind you guys of a few things that people often seem to forget. The founders of this country wrote the Constitution with one thing in mind. They stated it in the preamble. They wrote that their intention was to secure the blessings and liberty for themselves and all future generations. I don't see how this ordinance preserves liberty at all. I only see how it deteriorates it. If the ordinance is passed, we're targeting a very small, specific group of people, and maybe rightfully so, but we'd be doing it by applying a law that will infringe upon the rest. Thomas Jefferson said, "I'd rather be exposed to the inconveniences of attaining too much liberty than to those attaining too small a degree of it." The fact is a lot of us have obligations that require us to be up early in the morning. Some of us have school, some of us have work, some of us have job interviews, whatever the case. The point is, at times we all want peace and quiet. And for the most part, especially in Newport Beach, it's pretty easy to get. There are times, though, when someone or a group of people ruin that. So the question is this: if your peace is disturbed by someone else, is it okay to make a law that prohibits the person from disturbing your peace? And even further, as a normative claim, should that law be created knowing full well that the same law applies to you if you ever disturb someone else's peace? Thomas Jefferson's answer was no. The framers of our Constitution's answer was also no. This ordinance is being sold to the public as something that will only affect a few, and it seems like it's being sold to the City Council as something that will rarely be used. The 4th of July is one of those rare occasions. But the police already have so much power. Why should we be giving them more power over the community as a whole, just to target a few? Or rather, why should they be given more power 365 days out of the year just to help control one day? Either way, I don't see how they don't already have the tools to accomplish what this ordinance is being sold as to do. A big complaint from the officers seems to be that they're unable to cite particular individuals at loud parties if those individuals do not own or rent the house. That's not true. Under the California Penal Code, Section 415 states that any person who maliciously or willfully disturbs another person by loud and unreasonable noise shall be punished by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 90 days, a fine not more than $400, or both. What else is left? It seems to me that Section 415 of the California Penal Code is stronger than the proposed ordinance. In this case, 415, the officer doesn't even need 8 people to be at the loud and unruly gathering home. He can start handing out citations if there's 1 or 2 people there. I guess if you want to experiment with the deterrence of a certain activity and fine amount, then go for it. I think the proposed fines are too high, and honestly, even if the higher fines deter a few, I don't see how it's going to be a few, or the few, which are being targeted by this ordinance. Another thing that bothers me about this ordinance is its possible Fourth Amendment violation. The Fourth Amendment makes it illegal for an officer to enter a house without a warrant. If an officer arrives at a house with 8 or more people and decides that the people are there who are being loud and unruly, then all right, let me just start this over. If an officer arrives at a house with 8 or more people and decides that there are people there who are being loud and unruly, then since a law is, in this point, is clearly being broken, namely the newly created law under Title 10, Section 66 of the Municipal Code, then what would stop the officers from being able to enter the house without a warrant? It seems to me that if he wanted to cite everyone on the property, then he or she would need to be able to enter the residence to do so. We have the same problem under Section 415 of the California Penal Code, but this ordinance would just make it that much easier. Under both proposed ordinance and Section 415, an officer could be permitted to enter a residence without a warrant, but it would most likely be dropped by either the police department or later by the DA in fear that the law would later be challenged by a higher court. I'm not saying that I think police abuse their given power by Section 415 or 647, which is disorderly conduct. For example, drunk in public's covered in that section. Just name 2. But I've actually seen it happen, and I continue to see it happen over and over again. I really urge you guys to stand against the proposed ordinance by either not voting for it or at least by putting it back on the table for discussion, because in its current form, it gives officers another opportunity to violate the Fourth Amendment. It's unnecessary given Section 415 in the California Penal Code, and it goes against what the framers of our Constitution had in mind. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Are you a political science major or a?
Biomedical physics.
I thought that's what you said.
Physics and philosophy. Do you guys have any questions at all?
I don't think so. Thank
All
you.
right.
Anyone else wish to comment on this item? Okay, bring it back to council. There's a, did you make a
I
motion?
made the motion.
All right, there's a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, please vote.
I stand corrected. There is one more title to read. Ordinance number 2011-13, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, adding Chapter 10.66 to the Newport Beach Municipal Code pertaining to loud and unruly gatherings and amending Sections 5.95.060 and 5.95.065 of the Newport Beach Municipal Code pertaining to short-term lodging units. And with that, the motion carries 5-2 with Council Members Selich and Daigle voting no.
Okay, thank you. Item number 7, Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Yes, at the study session, I questioned who decided it would be Los Trancos that we were going to clean up the pond. And my question is, if we pass this, is that in cement? That if we went back and found out it was the regional board or something, we said, could we do Little Corona instead of Los Trancos? Have we committed ourselves by this to only do Los Trancos?
Councilmember Gardner, it's my understanding that the grant, all the things that are listed in the grant are part of the project that we've agreed to as part of the grant.
So it is in stone. Who set that up, though? Do we know? Because this is to me very sad that we find money to do Los Trancos, which is on state park property and has very few people visiting it, and then we have Little Corona, which is an ongoing problem, which is in our city and does have lots of visitors. So I hope in the future we will be more aware of an issue like Little Corona. Move the item.
Okay, do we have a second? All right, do we have public comment on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to council. Please vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. It's time for public comments.
Public comments are invited on non-agenda items generally considered to be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record.
I'm sorry. I thought we had changed that to make. Was I on the wrong side of that vote? It's 5 minutes on. It's only, and it was 3 minutes for the non-agenda items.
Non-agenda
okay,
items,
thank you.
right. So, public comments on non-agenda items. Does anyone care to make a comment? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to oral reports from city council members on committee activities. Councilmember Hill, did you have any report?
No. No, thank you.
Councilmember Rosansky?
None, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner?
The Harbor Commission and the Coastal Bay Water Quality Committee had a joint meeting, and it was very fruitful, showing how many areas of common concerns they had and areas to explore in the future. So we will probably have future meetings with both groups, just as we've had the Harbor Commission and the Planning Commission meet, which was also very valuable.
All right. Councilmember Daigle?
Yes, the Citizens Aviation Committee met. The planes are still flying. It's kind of a lifetime committee there. But what was also of significance is that we had an election held for the Airport Land Use Commission. And as Senator Maria Bergeson told me, she had enabled legislation to really increase the powers of the Land Use Commission in terms of zoning. And so Newport has traditionally held that seat, and this time we had a challenge from another city. And so we really rallied around our candidate, who was myself, and having Newport keep that seat. And Councilman Curry made a fiery speech, and the mayor sent a letter. And our strong showing resulted in just a very strong victory. And I also have to credit, Councilman Selich really did a lot to build our relationships with Irvine and other cities. We had airfare. So I think in the past year, Newport has really come a long way in our county in terms of the level of respect that other communities are giving us and recognizing our leadership on aviation issues. So I was really pleased by the result, and that our cities recognize our strong leadership on aviation issues. So thank you, and that's my report.
Okay. Councilmember Curry.
Thank you. Landslide Daigle, actually, I think is what we should call you after that stirring victory. As most of you know, I sit on the Association of Orange County Cities Executive Board as Vice President, and I'm very excited about the work that the cities collectively here in Orange County are doing on some of the major public policy issues that confront all of us. The first was to draft a major policy statement and paper on public pensions. And I really believe that some of the ideas that have been set forth by your fellow cities here in Orange County working together are the basis for a solution to this issue statewide that will, cease the fiscal hemorrhaging and provide the policy options that local officials need to address this issue effectively. The association has also been active on the issue of redevelopment. Now, we don't have a redevelopment agency in Newport Beach, so it's less important to us. But using redevelopment responsibly so that it does what it's supposed to do in terms of not abusing eminent domain, but providing the basis for economic revitalization in communities that really need it, and keeping local tax dollars local, which is the real key to redevelopment. The association has put forward some new guidelines that I really think address some of the policy concerns that people have about redevelopment and enable that to go forward, I think, in a much more responsible way across the state. So I'm very pleased about the partnerships and the collaboration going on with our fellow cities and what we're able to accomplish to make better public policy that all of us can benefit from.
Okay. Councilmember Selich.
Well, the Building Committee had a meeting last week to review the progress on the Civic Center project. We took a tour of the site, and I'm happy to report that we've excavated down to the very lowest level, I believe, by the library, and we don't have any artesian wells or springs popping out of the ground.
It's dry as a bone.
So that's good news. The site is really starting to shape up. If you get out there, you can really see how you're going to enter from the library parking lot, the parking garage ramp, go up, go to the entrance coming off of Fair Lawn. The foundations are laid out for the structures themselves, the City Hall office building and the City Council chambers. The structural steel elements are starting to be delivered on site. We saw the profile of how some of the roof elements are going to look. And it's progressing very well. We're on schedule. We're on budget. I think we had one small glitch, which was about a $38,000 item, which is nothing in the scope of a project like this. We're continuing to do our value engineering. We went through and reviewed a number of items, and we're making progress on continually working on that, and that'll be a continual process as we move along every step of the way on this project. The parking structure will be complete probably in July. You'll see that go up. Then probably by mid-August to late August, the skeletal frame of the City Hall and the council chambers will go up, so the whole, you'll really be able to start seeing the structural shape of the new facility take place. So it's pretty exciting to see it moving along. Like I said, it's on schedule and on budget.
Okay, I have one question. Do we ever get to look at that white thing again? I mean, it looks less and less like a sail from the designs and more and more like a brassiere or something.
Victoria's Secret, no doubt.
I'll pass your recommendation on to the architect.
All right. Okay, I think that's enough of that. So I do have two committee reports on more mundane matters. The Neighborhood Revitalization Committee met on Thursday, May the 12th. The primary agenda item was to discuss the prioritization of projects. We had a very good discussion with lots of public input, and the ad hoc committee will take that all under advisement and produce a recommendation for consideration by the City Council at the meeting of June the 28th. And then we will follow on with that, the formation of the Citizens Advisory Panels for the projects that we intend to move forward with first. The next meeting of that group, I understand, will be June the 16th. That's at the council chambers right here from 4 to 5:30. And then on Wednesday, May the 18th, the Tidelands Management Committee met. And we had several very interesting agenda items discussed at that meeting. There was a presentation on eelgrass in our harbor and a potential solution that looks like it's nearing completion here for enabling our residents that have docks that need to be dredged and an eelgrass problem to get that done without having to go through extraordinary expense and trouble and time to do it. And we're hopeful that that will be in place perhaps even later this summer. And so in addition to that, we had a presentation on the Balboa Island seawall, which is in conjunction with the idea that our sea level is rising. And so we learned a lot about the condition of the Balboa Island seawall, the height of it, which is actually a lot more variable than I had realized, and the inadequacy of it, more than likely, if we have significant sea level rise. It's already inadequate in certain storm and swell conditions. And we were all astonished at the amount of money it's going to take to really fix that altogether unless we can find some more clever solutions. Every time we turn around in the Tideland Management Group, we realize how important and what a large agenda it is for us to work through to plan and manage our tidelands to the best advantage over time. We also named the Citizens Advisory Panel for the tidelands, and Dave, you're going to have to help me here. I remember 6 names, and there are 7. So I remembered Terry Hartman, John Corot, Linda Beimfor, Wynn Fuller, Jerry King, and Jeff Herdman. Come on, Dave. Don Lorenz. Thank you. All right, so that's the Citizens Advisory Panel for the Tidelands Management Group. I think it's a really terrific group, and we're looking forward to their advice and input as we go forward. The next meeting of that group is June the 15th at the Oasis Center from 4 until 5:30. For both of these committees, we invite public input and attendance, and we really look forward to that. And so with that, we are done with the committee reports, and we're on to public hearings.
So this first item, Mr. Mayor, is the T-Mobile telecom permit, and there's a suggestion to continue that to the 14th of June.
All right.
Correct?
We have a motion.
Recuse myself, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second
And a
to
recusal.
continue this item to a date certain, to June the 14th.
14th.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on that motion for continuance?
Mayor Henn and members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. I live at a location overlooking the Back Bay where I, like nearly every other citizen of the city, can potentially be impacted by cell site installations. I believe this particular matter came to you because T-Mobile's proposed addition of antennas to the roof of a commercial building would slightly exceed the normal height envelope. And the request for a continuance is because T-Mobile's agent failed to perform the due diligence needed to obtain the required authorizations to use that rooftop from the adjacent building owners, who knew nothing at all about the proposal until receiving the notice of the first City Council meeting that was scheduled back in April. Based on the handout that is available in the lobby, it appears the matter is probably now dead because those adjacent property owners are not going to allow the construction of these antennas. While I am pleased that the owners did learn about the project, the episode raises several concerns. First, that our wireless code is written in such a way that a matter about height variances that would normally be the province of the Planning Commission goes directly to you, the council. And second, and even more troubling, that our wireless code is written in such a way that a similar installation not exceeding the height envelope could have been built adjacent to private residences, with the need for your fellow citizens to be informed of that proposal being left entirely to the discretion of the planner, and with no clear right for the impacted citizens to request a hearing with anyone. I also find it ironic that the private sector could force T-Mobile to be so circumspect in proving they have valid legal rights to use this property when in our city, the right to add similar facilities to property in the public trust, such as streetlights, has historically been granted without the clear public approval by the City Council that our charter would seem to require. I hope and trust that in its effort to go from good to great, the newly constituted Community Development Department, in cooperation with Public Works, will be able to bring proposals to you to correct these long-standing problems with the wireless code. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else wish to comment on this item?
Hi. My name is Sharon Hurd, and I'm here on behalf of the Acacia Plaza 2, and it's the office building. I'm in one of the three buildings of which this particular building is a part. We're located, our offices, at 20321 Acacia. The proposal affects the structure at 20311 Acacia Plaza, so it's a gathering of three buildings. Since this kind of came up suddenly to us, and it was never ever cleared through the board meeting or through the association, I'd like to ask that, and we have clearly told them by the letter you probably have in your file, we've indicated to them that we do not plan to ever approve the structure, and it's in violation of the CCNRs governing the behavior and the use of the property. We would just like to ask that this item be taken off your calendar permanently due to the fact that the association of the subject property does not agree with the plan for the antenna or any similar structure of any kind, and we will continue to be in opposition to the plan to construct any type of cell phone tower on this building within our association. It appears to be a waste of the council's time and that of the association's board of directors.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment on this item? Bring it back to council. We have a motion and a second to continue this until June the 14th. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
With Councilwoman Daigle recusing herself, the motion carries 6-0.
Okay. All right. With regard to items 12 and 13 and 14, these are annual reviews of development agreements that need to take place on a regular basis. And I'd like to check and see, just a show of hands from those in the audience here, how many people had planned to make comments on items 12 and 13 and 14, these development reviews? Okay. In that case, I would like to ask the indulgence of council that we consider all three of these items, 12, 13, and 14, together for purposes of public hearing and consideration. I see assent to that. All right, then that's what we'll do. Do we have a staff report that's brief and encompassing?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have annual development agreement review for North Newport Center, Fletcher Jones, and Pacific View Memorial Park. We have evaluated their progress this year. We find them all three to be in good faith, substantial compliance with the terms of the development agreement, and we ask that the council make that finding for the record this evening. And that's my report.
Any questions of staff?
Just one on the Fletcher Jones. There was something about public parking for the trails, access to the trails, the Back Bay trails and everything. And is that part of this development agreement, or was that a later?
That was a later modification to how the right-of-way is being used to provide a little more queuing space for the cars as they come into the service area. And there is a provision to provide some public parking there at the trailhead.
But that's not part of this?
It's not part of this,
okay.
no.
Councilmember Curry.
Do we need a separate motion for each of the items?
Annette?
No, you can consider them together. That's fine.
I would move the recommended staff action item to accept these development agreements for items 12, 13, and 14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right. I will offer public comment here, another opportunity for public comment on any of these three items. Okay. No public comment. Bring it back to council. Please vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, with regard to item number 15, which is the MALARKY'S Irish Pub appeal, I'm on the understanding that the applicant has asked to withdraw his application, and however, I'd like to offer Mr. Morovic the opportunity to address council with regard to this.
Thank you, Mayor Henn. I just wanted to thank Mayor Henn and the City Council, City staff for giving me the opportunity to present my application. I just wanted to acknowledge how accommodating and accessible the City Council and staff have been. I couldn't imagine you guys being more available than I requested. And a lot of good came out of the application. I got a chance to meet some great people. I got a chance to meet the City Council, a lot of members of the city staff, and a lot of members of the community, and just wanted to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity.
Great, thank you, Mario. I would have to say for my part, although I regret that we couldn't arrive at complete agreement on how to proceed here, I do have a great deal of respect for you and the businesses that you operate, how you operate, and I do hope at some point in the future we can arrive at a common ground here to enable you to do the things that you were intending with Malarkey's. So I'd invite you to do that.
I don't think that's going to happen. Just right now it's difficult to make a decision because whatever I accept is going to be life-changing, and maybe at a future time we can come to an agreement.
So the door's open?
Definitely.
All right. Any other comments?
Just to be clarified, so the status would be that he's approved based on what the Planning Commission approved, or what's the story here with this? No.
No.
The entire application is being withdrawn.
The application was withdrawn. The Planning Commission did approve it with conditions. It was appealed, and the act of the appeal actually nullifies that approval. And he's withdrawn the application, so he would continue to operate Malarkey's pursuant to the existing use permit and the existing conditions, so there will be no expansion.
Let me ask a point of clarification here. Wouldn't it be true that if he wanted to hold out the possibility of using the Planning Commission application, that if he didn't withdraw the application, he doesn't have to use it? It's there for 2 years for him to use or not use?
If the council affirmed that decision and approved the use permit, he would have 2 years to vest himself of those conditions, yes. But it would take an affirmative action of the council to approve the project.
But why couldn't he just withdraw his appeal but let the Planning Commission decision stand? I guess that's my question, rather than withdraw the whole application.
Well, that was the choice the applicant has made, to withdraw the application. That was in the email this afternoon.
We haven't taken final action here. He could elect to just withdraw the appeal to the council, keep the Planning Commission action and not use it, and have it in reserve in case he did want to use it.
Yeah, but then the residents who are opposed to it would ask us to appeal it or appeal it themselves, and we'd be back in the same place. So that just doesn't make sense.
I didn't realize there was any residents opposed to the Planning Commission approval.
There was a lot of them that came at the last meeting.
Yeah.
But it is his right, though. I mean, the decision of the Planning Commission is not binding. He can hold that. I mean, we have an attorney here. Maybe she can opine on it. Sorry, a minute.
No, you're correct. It's advisory to the council, so it wouldn't be binding on the council, and the council could vote. The Planning Commission's decision would only be advisory to you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So Councilman Selich's approach would be an option that the applicant could have. He could say, I'm withdrawing this appeal, and I may or may not act upon the decision or the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
That's correct.
Can I clarify one point for the record? The appeal was actually filed by Councilmember Hill. It wasn't filed by the applicant. Oh.
And if, for some reason, but then the appeal period is the appeal period passed, and then a resident who was unhappy with the Planning Commission who didn't appeal it because they, for whatever reason, would they still have a chance to appeal back to us if they didn't want that? Well, you follow, that was a little convoluted, but you understand what I meant.
The appeal basically nullifies the action. So the action didn't occur. The use permit has not been approved, so it would take an affirmative vote of the council to approve it in order for something to happen. So at this point in time, it's withdrawn. There's no application to consider at this point in time. And
you can't even withdraw without causing problems, Mario.
I can't win.
forget I ever said anything.
All right.
I regret it.
Thanks, Ed.
We'll just do a rewind here, and I'll say again, good luck to you, and, there may be another opportunity here. We'll see.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Okay. As far as I know, since the application was withdrawn, there is no action to be taken by council regarding the appeal. Is that correct?
That's correct. At least as of now, my understanding is that the application has been withdrawn.
All right, so there's no action to take on the appeal.
No action to take, that's correct.
All right. Okay. On to item number 16, the quarterly business report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. You have before you, and the public has accessible to them, our second quarterly business report, which reflects the period of January through March of 2011. This is where we take a snapshot of the city's economic condition, both in the city with a small c and city with a big C, talking about our budget. We also go through a number of projects that I know council follows with status, some good graphics in there as well. I won't comment any further unless you have specific questions about any of these.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. It was an excellent report. I thought it was very informative, and I look forward to the one 3 months from now.
Thank you.
I do have a question. I just turned my page, so I have to find it.
While you're looking,
Thank you.
I have a question on item number 3, harbor fees. So we've hired the consultant, and he's working and getting information from staff, and so when do we think this might mature to the next step here?
We have his first work product involves Lido Marina Village, and we're supposed to see that next week.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I
Mayor
found
Pro
it.
Tem Gardner?
Number 8, Irvine Company's North Newport Center project. Some of the conclusions that I guess its staff draws are awfully cavalier. And the status today says, this included the review of a shadow analysis which showed that the office tower will not add shade to the residential areas north of San Joaquin Hills Road beyond existing conditions for more than 3 hours between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., or for more than 4 hours, and that's Pacific Standard Time and daylight time. Well, if you figure how long the sun is up, that's actually quite a lot, and it's added to some shading that's already going on. So for some of those residents, they could be virtually losing all of the sun in their yards during the day, or at least for a third of the time or a fourth of the time. I mean, that's what it says, that it's going to affect the residential areas. And I mean, it is what it is. But I think that is a lot. It is somewhat significant, and I don't think we should be, as I say, quite as cavalier about saying, well, it's only 3 hours or it's only 4 hours or something. That's if you're a gardener, not a gardener with an extra E, that can be significant.
We'll take that into consideration. Thank you.
So there's my rant.
So take that. I did have one other question with regard to item number 5, which is the group homes mini conference. So have we actually set a day for that? I've sort of lost track.
I don't know that we've set a date for that, but let me get closer to that and
getting a little
pick something.
anxious.
It is getting
actually
close
getting
to August.
pretty close to August, yeah. So, all right. Any other comments on this item? Do we have any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? By golly, you did a great job with this report. Okay, I believe it's time for motions for reconsideration.
A motion to reconsider the vote on any action taken by the City Council at either this meeting or the previous meeting may be made only by one of the council members who voted with the prevailing side.
Do we have any motions for reconsideration? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
One adjournment.
Excuse me, we have an adjournment in honor of, if I can find my paper, Mr. Thomas L. Woodruff. Tom Woodruff, a founding partner in the Orange County law firm of Woodruff, Spradlin, and Smart, passed away on May 17th. Born and raised in Rochester, New York, Tom was a graduate of Michigan State University and University of California Hastings College of Law. Between his undergraduate and graduate studies, he served his country as a lieutenant in the Army Signal Corps. After graduating from law school, Tom and his wife Pat relocated to Southern California, where they happily made their home until the time of his passing. The city played a key role in Tom's long and respected legal career, as early on he served Newport Beach as its assistant city attorney. He left Newport Beach to serve as the city attorney for the city of Fountain Valley. Tom later founded Woodruff, Spradlin, and Smart, where his practice focused on water and wastewater law, and he served as general counsel to the Orange County Sanitation District for more than 30 years. He also voluntarily served in leadership roles for numerous professional and technical associations. Tom and Pat shared a passion for family, faith, and travel, and had the opportunity to see a number of destinations at home and abroad through the eyes of their children and grandchildren. Tom is survived by his wife, Pat, daughter, Kira Urquiaga, and her husband, John, daughter, Kelly, and her husband, Gavin Milner, and his daughter, Shannon Draheim, and her husband, Andrew, and 6 grandchildren. Memorial service and reception will be held on Saturday, June 4th at 2 p.m. at St. John's Episcopal Church in Rancho Santa Margarita. And with that, we are now adjourned.